Talking Point platform, TTPTV. Oh yeah. Unale we pledge, we love and loyalty. To we sweet, sweet mama salute. Now we all come together as well. For tomorrow, now we go make salute.
Yet another very important segment where they come through the Talking Point platform. Today again we get interesting Komon-Tok now. One of the issue we'll look at better one at the brawl, the sort of like a conflict, so they still continue between the government of Salon and the international partners there. We see an interview where the newly elected and the newly appointed chief minister, where David Senga, they say they not need a foreign entity for legitimize will result in the country. What in this mean? We will look at her. And this followed after the US government officially, the State Department officially puts a statement, then concern about the election. This is not on it. This official by right. I mean, since June 24, this election don't do. We still get issues, back and forth. So not until where seems to be going out of the news anytime soon. And also go look at Ahmed Sise Esquire of APC. You don't put the reason why then choose not for gonna court. And if them be choose for gonna courts, then we get a strong case where them for go argue, and he put the reason in there. And the last one, President Julius Madabiu do appoint new set of additional cabinet ministers and other members in a new cabinet, a new government, and all this and more. Plus, you comment, your observation. We like us so much, it creates a lot of impact, it engage the platform, and also yourself indirectly you impact the lives of others, you share your thoughts, help people understand issues. It's just beautiful, now that make or create the platform. And unfortunately today we're not going to open the line. We'll get technical issue with the line, so we will try to work on her. Most probably maybe tomorrow, maybe next tomorrow we'll still work on her. We apologize in advance. We're not going to open the line today. And also we get again we comrade now we na more camera we go help we for can digest the issue a better one. Yes, Mr. Camara, in case you want to say hi to people that would listen if I'm right.
Good evening to listeners. Thank you so much for your attention today and for listening to your contribution today.
All right. It seems as if your volume did down. You go maybe increase the volume. Increase volume.
Just say good evening again to the listeners. I say and I thank them for waiting there and they take their time for can listen to we own little contributions they will.
All right, thank you very much. So Fambule, finally, first thing this morning, we did broadcast now 2 platforms there. They broadcast na TPP Leo, na YouTube, probably inside the watch and so, and we also did broadcast live na Facebook Talking Point platform. Please consider for subscribe na YouTube and follow we on Facebook. So we not waste time. We can for them, but they share better one. Family, we can just now.
Talking Point platform. For news within our country, Salon. For education, entertainment, political affairs, TV. We got enough Tanga one inside Sierra Leone, like a big country. We breeze not a shit, TV.
Hello, we jump on today's issues here. First, yes, hello, welcome. We viewers we then be done the wait for quite some long time. Yes, Aisha from East Croydon, Aisha Kester, KK, MJ, Mary J, Awana Tukumba, and welcome on the program. Bernard Bernard and Umowa. Una all welcome to the program and the rest of Una. Definitely today, I believe we'll get more time on text than call. So Una they prepare Una comments there. We'll give more space to that today since we're not going to open the line. So Fambul, let we go into this first thing first. We don't want to waste time. Let we bring the newly appointed minister, the chief minister. Let we wait to see. Then we'll come for Robo much better on this. Lord, listen first.
First of all,
All right, I think the one go.
It is 6 p.m. here in Bonn, Germany, and you're right on time for your favorite show, DW's Africa Link. Welcome. My name is George Okachi.
And I am Josie Mahachi. A very warm welcome from me too. This show is coming to you live from our Facebook page, DW Africa, and on our partner stations across the continent.
Now, coming up, 3 weeks after Sierra Leone conducted national polls, how are citizens reacting to the post-election storm?
I personally do not think rerunning the elections is the way forward. We do not have the resources, and it has never happened in the history of Sierra Leone.
One thing I think that people forget is that Sierra Leone is unable to do anything for itself. It's an aid-driven country.
Still on Sierra Leone, is President Bio's government bothered by the EU and US not endorsing his re-election? We hear from his chief minister.
African Union, the Commonwealth, ECOWAS, and many institutions have spoken and endorsed. The point about having national elections is not to seek for endorsements from individual entities.
We're coming back with that conversation, so stay tuned. We'll be back after the world news in brief.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
That's right, you're tuned into DW's Africa Link, coming to you live from our studios here in Bonn, Germany. Once again, my name is Josie Mahachi.
And my name is George Okachi. Remember that we are live on our partner stations across Africa and on our Facebook page, DW Africa, where I see streams of people already tuned in, Josie. Tell you what, we love you all and stay tuned. Now we begin the show, and it's almost 3 weeks after Sierra Leone conducted national polls, and the main opposition party adamantly rejected the presidential elections results, demanding a rerun. Although the National Election Watch, an independent body monitoring national elections over the years, had earlier suggested that Julius Maada Bio had been in the lead, it categorically stated that there was indication for a runoff because he didn't make the 55% threshold required by the law, Josie.
Yes, however, George, the institution mandated by Parliament, the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, announced Bio won by 56%, even exceeding the prescribed threshold. Amid what appears to be a political standoff, the president has this week named his new cabinet. Our correspondent Claudia Anthony has been trying to find out how citizens are reacting to the post-election storm in the teacup.
There is no impasse as far as I can understand, because once the president has been declared and his election and his victory has not been challenged in the courts or by any legal means within the prescribed time, then the president is duly elected and he can exercise all the powers of the president under the Constitution.
I personally do not think rerunning the elections is the way forward. We do not have the resources, and it has never happened in the history of Sierra Leone since independence. We have had many fraudulent elections, many controversial elections, but there had never been a rerun. I think the opposition should come on board and then they can make legislations while in parliament to forestall future anomalies in our electoral process.
I don't believe I have ever seen anything in our constitution that says our elections are to be endorsed by any third party. I don't know whether, in fact, the EU themselves or the US believe that it is their job or responsibility to endorse our elections.
One thing I think that people forget is that Sierra Leone is unable to do anything for itself. It's an aid-driven country. It relies on aid, even at the lowest level. We literally cannot live in the country without aid being given to us to maintain the basic functions of the country, to pay people.
There is an avenue for any disputes. So under normal circumstances, even if they are not electoral disputes, there are always ways of doing it, and this is through the courts. So my view is that the opposition party, especially having contested the elections and are now contesting the results that have been announced, I would think that immediately they would go and seek justice in the courts of law.
Those speakers expressed thoughts of the post-election environment in Sierra Leone. Although the European Union, the USA, and other countries in the donor community are yet to send messages of congratulations to President Julius Maada Bio, the African Union has done so. And according to the President's office, congratulatory messages have also been transmitted from China and the Russian Federation, to name a few. However, the National Elections Watch, or NEW, remains firm in its submission that none of the leading presidential contenders obtained the constitutional requirements to be declared as the winner. Saliu Kamara is the spokesperson of NEW.
13 political parties contested for the presidency, and according to the projection made by the National Elections Watch through its process and result verification for transparency (PRVT) methodology, none of the candidates, not even the two leading political parties and their candidates, secured 55% of the threshold as required by the Constitution to avoid a runoff.
Indeed, a contentious development, and Claudia Anthony, many thanks for that report.
Now, still in Sierra Leone, as we always do here on Africa Link, we balance our stories. We hear directly from the just appointed Chief Minister David Senge. I earlier caught up with him and started by asking if the government is not bothered by concerns of the opposition who are contesting the election, since it's clearly proceeding with setting up the governance structures.
I think people have a right to contest. This is something that happens everywhere around the world. We saw many democracies across the world where people lose. Often opponents complain. And so we are bothered will not be the word I'll use. The president has been sworn in as per constitution, and he's putting up together great cabinets, very young people, lots of women, a very inclusive cabinet as per what he thought. So he's going ahead with fixing his team to focus on delivering for the country.
And both the EU and the US has not yet endorsed President Bio's re-election. How is the presidency taking this?
African Union, the Commonwealth, and many ECOWAS and many institutions have spoken and endorsed. I really don't know who hasn't endorsed and who. But what I can tell you is that most of the African governments, most of the other governments have. The point about having national elections is not to seek for endorsements from individual entities, or it's about a mandate from the people. The mandate of the people of this country is for President Bio, and he has that mandate.
But the reason why I asked EU and US specifically, these are your financial backers. So that's why I really wanted to know how rather the presidency is taking this.
I think we have friends, and the EU and the US have been very good friends to Sierra Leone. We've collaborated to build institutions that have existed in this country. We will have many projects ongoing. I don't think our relationship is determined based on whether or not there's a congratulation message that has come from the capital, I think they still continue to work in this country.
So your government is not seeking legitimization from the West to especially look good in the eyes of the world?
I don't think seeking legitimization is appropriate. And we certainly, and I hope no government is looking to look good in the eyes of a particular entity. I think we have a responsibility to our citizens. We live in a global world. We're all part of the SDGs. We have a commitment for our planet. And every country has challenges. When there is violence and democracy problems in other parts of the world, we all commiserate. There was there's violence and other things in Europe. And we've seen strikes and big demonstrations. We all think about it. We all look at the news. There are major issues around the world. And I think what matters is that we can all engage as independent states, independent institutions. We can all collaborate and sit around the round table and engage as party. I think what you need as a government is you seek legitimacy from your people. And that happens through a democratic process. And once that democratic process happens, that's what matters.
Okay. Now, the opposition has decided not to participate in any form of governance. How are you planning to bring them on board? Also looking at the fact that your chief minister appointment has not yet been approved by Parliament as well.
Not been approved by Parliament yet, because Parliament will sit, hasn't sat yet. I hope to go through the interview successfully and start working. I think Parliament sitting is tomorrow. I think they're taking the oath of office today. I'm not sure who has showed up and who hasn't showed up. And I also know that tomorrow when they sit, whether you've taken the oath of office or not, you can, by the Constitution, vote for Speaker of Parliament.
You mute. You mute. You mute. Okay.
Yes, Famule, as another from the chief minister, we thought and fit for Kautan to now allow get a balanced view about what in the happen with this electionary process in and outside of the country. This thing it seems to be not going out of the news, like I say, anytime soon. We see different speakers with the interview, and one of the key things where I just pick from Schengen. David Senge in talk, he say we don't need legitimacy from anybody for conduct we affairs as states, and we don't need for look good. These are the words. We don't need, it say we don't need for look good in the eyes of the world when it comes to this we own internal affairs. What you make up of this statement? And somebody also talks say we don't ever get any rerun. The courts don't ever do give instruction for let we run. If something ever happen, is it for say because it never happen, so enough for happen at all? But what now you take based on this interview?
I start with the person will say it never happened. Like what you say, there is a start to anything alive. Anything alive get beginning. So now the answer that no more I will give to that. So if you know ever be don't be it, if there is a reason, a legitimate reason for it starts for the very first time, then obviously there will be a start to it. Waiting like the newly appointed chief minister say, a kind of a bit controversial, just like how a lot of other people then come, then give them views. Mr. Cable give like my own view, it will align with some other person in your own view, or it will be contrary to other person in your own view. So it all depends how it will go. But in general, in my own view, in my own personal view, it always good make a country like Sierra Leone get a very good relationship with the West. By every standard, it always good you get a very, very good relationship. You no go try for faith like the West, and you think say you all right. That notice until you all right. You know, therefore be comfortable with that. Even like wait and say yes, we are in a donor driven economy, we are in the fund and a lot of we stuff them, based on that that you able to look at them. You can look at them on the basis say if you get issues them with like EU and because large just see the West if you don't know
simply not the West. If they
yeah,
refer to America and the
when
EU and
America,
the not free,
European Union and Great Britain, you always would like get relationship with them. However, you can still there, you know, even get relationship with them. You still exist as a government. Probably not in that sense you talk about. Because we don't see incident then where countries and we not get no relationship with them, but then they. But the part where they can they, in my own personal opinion, I don't want that for my country. Like the country we not get any relationship with the West. But we've seen governments in Africa. I will give one clear example, like Yaya Jammeh, we even he ruled for like over 20 years and even more. Even
Zimbabwe.
Yes, even taking country out of the Commonwealth. It don't mean say Gambia no exist, there not being electricity, school not be the go, government not be the function. You understand? Or whatever that was. So maybe that deeply it depends to waiting mean and waiting them one as a government. So if maybe they don't make the decisions, say, listen, without them, we go turn to Asia and the China, you understand, like Asia and the Middle East. Because most times what think happen, where people them, government, they will then fall out with the West, then they turn to then country there. And the global politics of that they play. Because this competition, the way China and the US, they battle for this, for get control over Africa, for trade, I don't know if I become clear, for like trade relations and so sometimes they can take advantage of them here. So if you look at how we politics they go, where then country are not congratulate President Bill, then chip in quick, then can then congratulate them because then safe now they we they want the international politics. So in the unlikely event, we are in then fallout, then they can then put their hand on that, then support. Because then say they try for get more friends then and for build that they able give them the power in life, for let them try for this and own battle with them deeper in life about whether not the super world power, whether get more trade. But in my own personal view, I always feel say Salone supposed forget a very good relationship with the West and every other country anyway. Because if you get good relationship with the West, you don't get no problem obviously with the Middle East and Asia generally.
Yeah, the thing is, in the first 5 years of President Bio, he spent 5 years traveling around the world for go make we look good. That's exactly what you see. For go look good in the eyes of the international community. Because according to her, APC, they mess up the salon name, them even Japan, then go there, then go left hotel bill day. It's shame we go there, pass so they make it pay. So that embarrassment day, can you imagine? So it try and embarrass you, go and clean all the dirty image way we don't get. And now we see the same government they say we don't need to look good in the eyes of the international community. You know, if you say this paradisical or ironical in the sense, based on their statements here, just for quotes them no more.
Yeah, no, now mind we all they play the mind game. Like me own personal take, I always take if like America, EU, and the West, then are champions of democracy. You understand? Then get them standard. Then standard that waiting. If observers, the people they say the people they go now ordinary observers, if observers then go and observe election, then they come out with a report and say at XYZ stage, they're not being transparent, which is clear, not to anybody feed them out. Then standard, they know they congratulate that government. So for example, even like the government, the time when they go and waste you, they post all kind of congratulations to me, it kind of not make no sense because this it never forever come from America anyway. They say this now, like we wait till the next election, it's not going to happen anyway. The UK not going forever congratulate you, regardless to what you do. Because then like no more then get a standard, and then they say, okay, Then make they wait for that report. Then that they do. The report don't come out. They say it's not transparent. Then they endorse something where they're not they practice. You understand? Now like double standard for them. So they're not
Yeah.
get for goodie.
Law share this information from the American government. This officially come up from the American government. Family, as soon as they see from the screen now, this now the U.S. Department of States. Now this them put on Sierra Leone's election. This now be yesterday them put on, but we'll not be able to bring account on yesterday. But anyway, logo Matthew Miller, department spokesperson. This now the spokesperson for the State Department. I puts this up. He said the United States continues to be concerned about irregularities in the election result announced by the Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone (ECSL), independent parallel vote tabulations, and analysis by accredited national and international observation missions raise questions about integrity of the official results. We call on the government to institute an independent outside investigation of the elections process and integrate observer recommendations to improve the electoral modalities for future elections. We are also disturbed by the report of intimidation, including death threats against domestic and international observers. Sorry. The civil society organization and ECSL personnel, we call on the actors to exercise restraint and engage in peaceful dialogue to resolve disputes. The resolve and determination of Sierra Leoneans who went out to the polls on June 24 to make their voices heard was inspiring. Free and fair elections are essential for any democracy. The government and political parties must commit to strengthen democratic institutions to better protect the rights and reflect the aspirations of the people of Sierra Leone. So, what do you make up of this? These now official statements are from the US government.
Well, it's still down. Go back to like waiting. I just be the try for talk about because you get the West America, all man know, or the United Kingdom, the European Union, them now champions them of democracy. Waiting them once, they want to see something wherein you conduct a free and fair election and an election where you go into in the end, the observers then come out, then give a very good, report and recommendation, then approve and say, okay, this election be free and fair, it be transparent, and and we're happy with them. So if the report them will come out, no get them kind, very nice tune words them day, for endorse that election day, then always they be disturbed, like we don't do this letter. That is a normal thing. As long as I always talk and for the fact say that report being come up from the Carter Center with them very, very independent, they're not getting no interest anyway. They're not they seek nobody interest as alone in the sense any political party. What then come for then they for advocate for let una strengthen democratic institution, they let una strengthen democracy in any part of the world generally. So now they don't stand that than they. So if they say then disturb, then worry, and they don't give like some few recommendations and say una investigate waiting they happen. Obviously, then one for there is an investigation, so they will come out with a report, and at the end of the report, there should be a recommendation wherein, like any subsequent election, we then will get at the country, whether not anytime soon or that the near future, we then same problems and not will happen. So I feel say then make a lot of emphasis on that. And one part the way me just take note of, wherein then talk about, then mention say like make you always talk that they talk about let the actors and let them restrain from violence, when I engage in dialogue, that again, now an approval of like me observation say always international community, America, like how a lot of people they portray them or they look at them, they know they support any political party. They're very, very independent because they will tell you, say, every actor. So in the sense wherein you end up for do anything, you engage in violence or anything, it don't matter which side you did. Then will bring you to books, you will report the same way how they will if the government they self end up for trigger any violence at the country. So that is very, very essential way somebody they look at her. Not just look at say, oh yeah, no matter because there are incidents and way people then they don't go, they declare themselves. Presidents, then go, they don't declare themselves. Rebel leader, they don't declare themselves, say they will start. And not to the view of America, not to the view of the European Union, than they, not to think that they will then stand for, not to think that they will then support. So you get forget this at the back of your mind whenever you communicate, because we don't see an example of an salon where you will get a civil war. When they come, they negotiate with every actor will be involved. We they end the war, we will help on end the war. Then talk to the government where they don't say. We they set up a court where we investigate. Waiting happen during the war, and the people then will be bear the greatest responsibility. We they take them now the court for let they account for their actions then. So it's been so surprising to a lot of people in the end. Then been take rebel leaders them, head of military leaders them, which everybody be they look at and say, okay, these and they not be the fed in the interest of the people there. Surprisingly, the end of will take the then minister or deputy minister of defense, the President Kabine government, when I do retired Chief Hinganoma, way to everybody in your action then, if they do for defend the country. If they may look at and say, in your action the way they do, that be a legit one. But it not stop them for let them take you. You understand? Now the court. So it just endorses the fact say they're not there in support of any institution or any political party. What they know, then they support democracy. Now that they try for strengthening that the war, let people their voice be heard, let everybody be in there. So it's a reminder, even at that day, that particular sentence, at the second paragraph, they tell anybody, you don't whatever you do, try for let no say what you do illegal. Then like that no moment actual. They get for be legal if you're doing within the armpit of the law.
Yeah, another thing where a lot of people and they talk about and they ask for the American government, they say there should be an investigation where the government get for involved and even outside body get for can investigate. We don't know if the government of Salon will accept that. Maybe something then go institute their independent investigation. Where definitely the opposition not get for agree to that. If no more than said investigation for no way to happen, it left at the hands of the government alone, they're not going to accept that because they will cry foul and go point a lot of things there. But anyway, now we come up with on this same election, why APC not going to court? Because when we listen to the interview, some people then say we get a lay down procedure, we get a lay down steps in case you dispute, in case you know like what you see now the election, you get right for going to court and challenge the result. But the All People's Congress didn't refuse. But they not just refuse, they put reasons, they all listen. What's in them say, then say them they get a strong case actually. But lawyer from lawyer Ahmed say waiting them make up of the entirety. Lord, just listen this one from Bonnet. Very interesting.
Straight. Ahmed Sise here, by the way, and I decide for send a voice note on the forum for put a couple of things them straight. First of all, I'm not going to respond on the Mohamed Bangura issue. Why? Because I feel say he represents himself, he not represent the party. But the two issues why I want address you on this forum, because I notice say anytime where I put something at the forum, they go after me vigorously, and we're professional. This is a legal forum. Now, let me address you. You say we na the APC, we not go to the Supreme Court because the strength of we case, we afraid say we not get better case for petition, And then also, I go respond on the issue of the judiciary, where you say we APC lawyers not the show respect to the judiciary. But let me first of all advise you, say, I beg you, say, stop hounding our leader, Dr. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara. Say, Paupa Ifo, make a concession speech or congratulate President Bio. You know, as lawyers, we also need for follow the law strictly, as Lord Denning will say. Unless our services have been duly retained, let us don't speak from the bench. Make we follow the law. Make I just picture this scenario and let's just give a briefing on the case with skeleton arguments will be put before the court, and I invite learned colleagues and friends and sisters at this forum. Make them be the judge. Let's just lay bare waiting transpire. And while they wait for the disaggregated data station by station, we also not forget the due process. So now, counsel, let me ask you. Let's assume, say, as you a lawyer, Dr. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara meet you in a chamber with this briefing. And now let me give you the briefing, okay? Let's first of all give you a skeleton argument. We, na the APC, the case na the Supreme Court before be simple for we. We been for just one lady Supreme for go seek clarification for say whether the electoral commissioner the chairman for the electoral commission, deposed by way of an affidavit with penalty of perjury that the general elections held on the 24th of June 2023 was conducted strictly in compliance with the provisions of sections 88 to 93 and section 51 of the same Public Elections Act of 2022. That's been for we question. And let me just give you a brief scenario of we own case. So una go judge. Let me just make a case on that vein. You know, I not just feel say I need for refer you first to section 45(2) of the Sierra Leone Constitution of 1991. Now, waiting section 45(1) say first. Section 45(1) say the Chief Electoral Commissioner shall be the returning officer for the election of a president. 45(2) say it give a condition any question whether any question which may arise as whether any provision of this constitution or any law relating to the election of the president under section 43 and 42 of the constitution has been complied with. So before you proclaim person as president, the returning officer, the constitution say if you make sure say any provision of this Sierra Leone constitution or any law relating to the election of the president under section 43 and 43, then complied with them. So now let me come back to any provision of this constitution. Who side the law say any provision of this constitution? Let me take you now to section 44. Section 44 of the Constitution give Parliament the rights for make law regarding to the election of president. Section 44 of the Sierra Leone Constitution, and also Section 171 also confirms say any legislation made by Parliament is part of the Constitution. So I don't justify why the Public Elections Act with and personal Parliament must be relied upon. So now let me take you now to the Public Elections Act and say I don't justify the reason why it should be relied upon when electing a president. Now, waiting section 92, subsection 2 of the Public Elections Act say, it say the polling agent after he don't send the results to the district returning officer, the district returning officer shall issue a certified copy of the result after summarizing verification. If will issue a certified copy to political party agents and observers present at his office. So it begs the question, let ECSL give you one certificate which show say they certify the result. Either observer or party agent come up with one. Honestly, if you do that, personally, me go step down. I go concede and tell you, say, yes, let Dr. Samura issue a concession speech. Because as far as we concerned, and I was not the only person present there, and part of the reason for being a polling party agent is to be able to certify that the poll was conducted in accordance with the law or rules and regulation governing the conduct of public election. That's the reason why I was certified I was accredited by my party to be there. And I was not the only person there. There were other senior practitioners of the Sierra Leone Bar Association who been there inside that room there, one not just one call their name. When they self go testify, say, not a single certified copy was issued to us before they announced the result. Okay? Now, you see, I can tell you now for free that the election was irretrievably flawed. Everything that could go wrong went wrong that day. From voter registration, first of all, from procurement of sensitive voter materials to polling, counting, tallying, verification, summarization, and declaration of result, all went wrong. So if you not a lawyer, then somebody approach you with this case, wouldn't you say that person don't make a prima facie? Now, let me tell you what authority we could rely on, because in law, when you make your case, you get forgive an authority. And I go respectfully refer you to the Raila Odinga and others versus the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission of Kenya. On the 1st September, and this case is reported in the Kenya Law Report 2017, okay? So it's Raila v. IEBC 2017. Go to the Kenya Law Report. On the 1st of September 2017, the Supreme Court of Kenya issued a decision annulling the presidential election by a vote of 4 judges to 2. The court determined that there was significant failure in the transmission of results from polling stations to constituency, tallying center, and national tallying center, which jeopardized the election's integrity. The court also found that the IEBC, that the Kenya Election Board, did not follow constitutional and statutory provisions for the elections administration. So as a result of this, they annulled the elections in Kenya. So you tell me now as a lawyer at this forum, and I invite all other lawyers at this forum, for tell me, say, this is not a cogent and tenable authority. Do you understand? Come back to the Public Elections Act, and I don't need to tell you, counsel, you must have learned this from law school. Any law that embeds due process, that due process ought to have been adhered to strictly. Now, the Public Elections Act, certification of result 92 subsection 2, also annexed in page 84, the schedule number 7 and 8 in the Public Elections Act, and I'll invite you to peruse that. It stipulates the process of summarizing and counting and verification of the result. So the due process is not just embedded in the act, in the provision, in the statute. It also shows the process by which it will take for summarize. So if that process is there for a reason, if that process is not adhered to, you tell me, say, the Raila v. IEBC precedent authority is not tenable. So please, counsel, next time you want urge with leader for concede, consider him as a client and what you will advise in this scenario if you go say let your clients concede. And now you tell me about, say, whether we're afraid for litigation. Let me tell you, we APC lawyers, we have counsels of great eminence, including the Honorable Abdullahi Okonte, to discharge this requisite burden with ease. And perhaps you don't know who Honorable Abdullahi Okonte is, because if you're not a wide reader and you read peer-reviewed journals, you will see, you go notice, say, eminent scholars, journalists, them we don't write law journals, they refer to judgment made by Dr. Abdullahi Okonte, now the principal drafter of this constitution who they struggle at. If now that country, in authority is set on stone. So please, next time we can't we say we not get the strength of we case make we know they go. Just look at the submission. And I don't tell you, say let them come with one evidence from observer, say they certify the result before they call on. So what would they talk about the result? Let's talk about the station by station aggregated data. Let us look at the due process also. We're capable for nullify presidential elections. Okay, if no one decide for be on the path of reconciliation, you cannot emit negative vibes at this time. If you now want reconciliation, this is not the way forward, especially as lawyers. We cannot do this, and they can rain personal attacks against people. Now, let me go back to the issue where you say then disrespect. We did disrespect the judiciary. Listen, as lawyers, we're part of the court. We in England, when you qualify as a lawyer, you are a solicitor of Her Majesty Supreme Court, now Her Majesty Higher Court. Do you understand? Or barrister of Her Majesty Supreme Court. So you're part of the court, and Sierra Leone is no exception as well. I don't know whose jurisdiction you did practice. So when we sister from, I don't know if not Australia, the lawyer from Australia, bring an issue questioning the Bar Association, in not disrespect the Bar Association, and you go after her like, I don't like you reply to her. The woman say the Bar Association in neutrality is under caution, especially this current regime where the inaugural dinner he then they change Madabio. He says so the neutrality they under caution. Now about it talk. I should say you am an apology. Now let me come back to the issue. I'm not saying that because lawyer Lansana Doumbia wrote a letter profiling the experience of the APC party in the judiciary. And you cannot blame lawyer Lansana Doumbia. Listen, lawyer Lansana Doumbia is in a class of his own in terms of practice. He's been out of Sierra Leone jurisdiction. He don't practice now. They don't get a contract with UN and all over, and don't go practice now East Africa and CAM. So they even compare or even question it. He's got an unblemished character. He is the Secretary General of the APC party, and Lansana Doumbia simply profile the experience of the APC. He no intent for demeaning the judiciary. He's part of the court, the judiciary. So how you can talk say because you write letter? Profiling, it is our experience of the court. Now, let me come briefly to this section 77K where they talk. Listen, the law, it's no longer appetizing for pursue the law as alone, my brother. Because simply, 77K, section 77K will permit political parties for regulate the conduct of them, where the Sierra Leone Constitution, 77K, permits political parties for regulate the conduct of the members of parliament. C4C1 rely on that clause for withdraw the leadership of the member in the parliament. The speaker say no. Sierra Leone parliament say no. You understand? So now they can't tell we say we forgo through parliament. We have no confidence in that because all that we know that the APC make a decision, say 55 with party constitution give power to the executive of the APC for regulate the conduct of then political party and members of the APC, and then decision is binding to all organs of the party, including members of parliament, councillors, and all other people. So if the APC make a decision for regulate a member of the APC, an organ which is a members of parliament, we are well within our rights. So if we use 77K for right to parliament for withdraw a member of parliament, it's up to them whether they comply to that or not, but we're going to follow the law strictly. You understand? So no can't we and begin use this forum. You know, I know you're SLPP, not begin to hide. I'm a senior operative of the APC. I not ever hide, but it don't become now constant that anything was said at the legal forum, you dey bash at me and me character, but I'm a member of the APC. So I decide for reply you today for make you know say we no dey hesitate. The strength of our case is heavy, and I don't show you waiting been for be among other things will be for go seek clarification, including voter suppression, eligibility of the chairman of the ECSL, among other things. I don't show you waiting before be the due process, just a tip of the iceberg, which will be for present before the court if we been decide for litigate. But we don't decide say we not they go court, you just stay fasting we don't decide say we will not participate in governance. We not go ahead and govern the country for God's sake. In a not intimidatory. You know, we don't decide say we're going to give a news, stay away from the media. But when you say something against my very character, you know, trust me, I'm not going to take them easy, okay? So until next time, and I'm not going to tell you the meaning of the APC, the 13 rays, but wait till they tell you the emblem, but wait till they tell you, no matter how long the night is, the day is sure to come.
All right, so no matter how the net says long, the day must come. No matter how the day long, the net will come anyway. So family always they try to work out different sides then for not just get the opinion of actors and different actor political stalwarts then waiting a makeup of the election. So we still get this issue for talk on. And again, I know say you don't listen, quite interesting anyway. You mentioned some key points there where me just look at. But la bring you cancer before we come for them by the text and I will say a lot of sober text and don't kind higher. What do you make up of the general submission of lawyer MSCC? We make they're not gonna court, and if they be gonna court, then get a case then get a case, and it talks the bar association itself don't politicize because in the one of the company even raised that say how now we can't get a bar association I get to meet it on all the chant mad mad. So which means I don't even compromise. So anything I talk, and we see the bar association pull a letter, then congratulate President Julius Maada Bio. They said I don't find nothing wrong with the election. In fact, they even blast new the Marcela Samba. I'm not calling them, but of course we know in any talk. So it just reveal the internal struggle within the bar association itself when it comes to neutrality. When at the last when they say it costs the last side abopa, so they go challenge. Perhaps that I make APC and look say but now we inside the system. We already know what them and inside this. So why would they go waste of time? But anyway, I mean, what you make up of these statements from Ahmed Cisse?
Well, he presents in legal arguments the skeleton of waiting if I don't take my court, how if I don't argue the case. He refers to the Kenya case where if I don't use like precedents for try for convince the judge for make the election for don't go, the decision for don't go in favor. Again, a very brilliant one because it back them with certain, clauses or quotation from the Constitution to the electoral law. So it not just come with any kind of vague, arguments we put forward. You understand? How info don't win the case. Then how waiting have been for don't be in your argument. What I go add to that day until if we don't test that in a court. Now if you know, you understand it? Because from if you not a lawyer, it back on with your arguments. Now if not lawyer, another lawyer where they respond to them, it again your corresponding argument then. You understand? So from that point, if we don't only able to prove, like what he put them forward to, me not a lawyer. Something another lawyer for don't say, listen, that point you talk, if we don't argue with this clause under section, this now so me don't see lawyer they argue. We for don't counter that in point and that point. But the only side where them for don't get this, then for don't back to this in courts anyway. But it get a very brilliant and systematic argument how it deal in case.
La bring can like out this Charles Francis Maga, and say himself take ECS gonna court Mohammed Kone. He argue, in fact, say them call in case. He say then he wanted to take one of the supreme the justice out because one of the justice in consider for say he gets self-interest in the sense that the supreme the chief justice rather he said. How did the Chief Justice know within a short possible time, say President Bio go win? As soon as they announce him before you remember, that man don't prepare a statement or rush go. So Charles Magai say either if you don't get an advanced information, according to Charles, these are not to me they make them up now and go ahead and confirm them from Charles Magai. Of course, they know they follow social media, they know say they did. Charles Magai say the Chief Justice go don't get an advance warning back then, or then we don't inform and days ahead say President Bionange for win where the election not counted. So the manner in which the rush go swearing in a get question mark. Although Silver Blyden also argues saying, so the Constitution say. Immediately, where the national returning officer don't announce the winner of the national election, they're not for waste time, then for swearing a court to answer and able remember that point there. So perhaps now APC they look at say, look, the Chief Justice be don't know say President Bio don't win. So that make the rush quickly go swearing. And not a coincidence. And we see again when they announce the results. They are military men, and that's one of the things we're carrying. AYV not sure. AYV not sure. SLBC not sure. So it means like them, we don't tell the media already say that part there, we are not sure. So that was one of the things where a lot of people, in fact, them videos and they not now people in camera. Now amateur footage there where people are using camera, then take shots. But we'd expect if Nati will not be premeditated, the election will not be premeditated, therefore don't allow AYV for show that side, the SLBC they show that, but then cut that side, which means if you look at the genealogy, it seems as if this thing is well organized, well premeditated, saying that so it will happen. The Chief Justice is well informed about the decision of ECSL or the results already in advance, say, just prepare yourself with the go swearing the president, military men and go there for protect the ECSL because remember Edmond Sylvester we don't ask for me to provide for the security then go announce the result. So you know if the APC gets case based on all this because imagine then are actors then they know more information more than what you don't know. We now wait till they follow no more and wait till other people important people in the talk and wait till we research and found that make we count we on genealogy so imagine then when are the stakeholders there, the stalwarts there, who then go don't get more information than we when our raw data. You know, if you say perhaps now that make them decide say even though we get a strong case for go argue in a court, we're not going to court because we already don't know how this thing happened.
One side the way I will come in, so except past EBC are wrong on my memory, not serve me right. Me own time we I know say they are alive. I don't see them transition, they don't take place. I think at the 12 days. To be very honest, they're not different from the other one. Then. I be honest on that. The day when Christian Atopa declare Anes by Kuma from opposition as president at the same day within few hours and swearing. But somebody can talks in a lie. Now the next day happen. You understand? If on the week at the end of the forum, let anybody there out, he text and say, the day Christian Atobi announced it, and it's by Kuma win election, at the next day they swear. Now within few hours.
Yeah, no, that's the argument with Silver Blyden puts. Is according to the Constitution, once are announced and for swearing the president immediately. You know, we stand up.
Yeah, so the truth is, example they but are not different from this one. To be very honest, past in a platform with the way we get thousands of viewers and let somebody can talk say, the tell and SB win at the next day they do it, or it take 10 hours before they do it. The other hand be declared honest by Kuma from opposition as president, they share in the same day. Within hours.
This is an argument where a lawyer puts, where not Charles Francis Magai puts, one of the justice. I think he said, you know what, you don't get involved.
What him they say, I give example to an by Kuma in your case, Charles Magai talker, na in argument, you understand? Me not go to that day. At least this is a practicality where every Sierra Leonean king are still in the studio, let somebody can talk say. The day where Anes by Kuma then be declared president, not to the same day then do within hours. I still sit on here. Let somebody can talk that day. You understand? Because that day, not to anybody, not to Charles Magai what he right, not to anybody, I was alive, aware, I not be in no mental home. You understand? Are they read and write are fully aware what happened. Now on that basis, they are the picture. So not to Charles Magai in your argument or any other, because waiting me will always say, I don't see there I mislead anybody. I still see there with the program they continue. Let somebody can tell me say yes, it not happen that way. Say the year which has and is by Kuma win. If not to the same day they share within few hours. And wait in fact it won't be different. Where in the president by Kuma Bio win from opposition again, now the same thing they happen, but it won't be slightly different because in the sense, in then go do the swearing in some side else when I be hotel because again the election begins tension. But again that it happen the same day within 3 hours again. So now the same thing happen this one back. So middle can say, oh yeah, that is a genuine argument. But now let's go to the neutrality of the judiciary. That maybe we'll go to Dandy. Like this are still there, anybody can text say, oh yeah, and SW be win at the next day or Dandy, you look out the argument and defend them. How then we don't pre-inform any chief judge like an by command scenario if it's different from this one. Again, you know, that will be an argument for another day or another topic. The neutrality of Salon judiciary, me, I always don't argue that even not to like not to just the judiciary. I always don't talk and say we need for strengthening we institution. For example, for the time we don't spend abroad, I can tell her a lot of times, say the way I see life now with one country, I don't think I will leave Salon. I determine my every day. That making always get that conversation with her. Because then, yes, because it don't the system then build in such a way where I don't need for libel to nobody. I don't do I stubborn man. I don't challenge a lot of cases. I didn't challenge me university lecturer for me grade. If they publish the grade, I will challenge you. If they continue for teach me, you teach me the next one. You know, net for purge me. You know, procedure, due process, and the way they're independent. Where I don't challenge, I don't win them cases. If they challenge cases against the governments of this country. I don't challenge the government. Me, where you don't I don't challenge the British government who don't go where if they not in case law, they tell Ibrahim Karamo versus the Secretary of State. Where I don't win. I don't get no connection. Me na black man way come na salon. You understand? So what in that they mean, it just talks say we always for strengthening we democratic institutions, and so we able to trust them, we able to challenge cases, and we go there, and we get the decision the way we want. Then we able to get with evidences that we go there. But again, if you look at it, this don't be a systematic problem that we country, not to today, not to 10 years, not to 20 years, not to even today. Where they don't compromise the police, they don't compromise the bar station, they don't compromise the police, they don't compromise the court cases. And I don't see case in this country wherein the then Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, don't Peru Parliament, where if you want to go Brexit, people then challenge and then go to the Supreme Court, he lost. I don't see Theresa May as Secretary of State don't take case where he don't take Abu Qatada and a court for deporter as Secretary of State for the Home Office. By then, he lost the court. The government and the appeal. Not to the man be the appeal. You understand? So when you strengthen your institution, then I they make them country and get like democracy. So I can they work like a free man, a liberal, work in the thing, they're not really rebel to nobody. Remember, you can't have to me, tell police they arrest me, you therefore follow the due process. Now make it always good for where you build them institutions and day. Now the reason I mean, you know they say we don't believe alone because like no they street now they were born. But when you don't use to certain way of life, you see now like you country, they see and say, how comes I will believe that? I don't need for know somebody in this country. So I don't even care whether I'm a minister, I don't care whether I'm the IG, I don't care whether they're in that court. Where you can, you come here, they take me evidence that I get that I go. But like that can be like any recommendation. Waiting at the CC. We need for strength in the institution. Obviously, the evidence is what they talk about. The courts, they don't compromise, this compromise, then they nobody need able to argue. If you don't know how they argue to anybody, they lie to anybody. The legal system as alone, nobody know kind of trust them. We just the goodie. Because already before you goodie, then can able to decide whether the win case anyway. Then can always decide whether or not for win case. So that then get a very strong argument on that basis.
Yeah, that's the problem where we get in the country. You know, everything has to be legitimized by the people. Mm-hmm. Even if you make yourself a president, if the people of the country do not legitimize you, in their mind, they don't get that confidence say you're not the president, you they struggle, you don't get a mandate. Now, we don't see what are the type of talk here is. They talk about strengthening institutions there. Mm-hmm. We don't get the faith. But the big question is, what's how we start? How we go build for? How we go re-engineer institutions if we don't get faith in it? Because what these governments can then set the peace commission for able to quell any conflict, bring calm different parties together. But the people of Salon not believe her. They don't believe her. In fact, relevant, people know they talk about us. So where exist? And government of Salon, they spend billions of leons day in that commission day. So what are the time for talk? Everything demanded, particularly this age where they say the age of technology today, where people and they see everything, you mandate in any way they do, you get for come up from the people and then get for acceptor. Apart from this age self, remember where even Strasser then be overthrown, the people in an illegitimate way then use the barrel of the gun, but the people of the country they legitimize them, they accept them 100%. So when it comes to this particular issue of this election, it seems as if some part of the country, some set of Sierra Leoneans they legitimize President Bio, as well as some set of Sierra Leoneans they don't legitimize President Bio. For them, an illegitimate president. But should they talk about the one thing will be all for Abopa when are the justice system? So there comes the problem. If you check the TRC reports, I think chapter 5, they talk about the war, the actors and the institutions that were responsible for the war. One of the institutions were responsible make we go into war. Now the judiciary. But it seems as if they're not they learn nothing. In fact, defeat the help for pay the money, for pay the lawyers and the judges there. Why? Because they want at least and get independent. Then get confidence at least for carry out justice. I think that's not the biggest problem. We on case, even though where some people and say never happy, if I don't be a test case, if the case, if the judiciary is neutral, another people argue say case political case in a court. I mean, the judicial condition then can't argue and talk everything with free and fair. These are both people. Saloma no fool. Saloma no fool. Look the case of Mohamed Kamarimba. Paso, but say this get political undertone. And at the judiciary, and guess what? You look at the person will be handled like case day. Look at the case of LAJ. For 500,000 or 1 million, 9 good years. Say this a politically okay. The judiciary then say them follow the due process. Is that, but Saloma, I repeat, Saloma no fool. Then no, this man was a pain, was a thorn in the flesh of the government, and this is our perfect opportunity. Even the people who get the case, they want forgive LJ. I mean, people and family, people that will just go ask. go further, they spend 9 months. If you like the man commit treason, can you imagine 9 months? I said just for go itself. So me worry what they get. How we go build the confidence from the institution? Who that go talk? Because even the interreligious council themselves don't corrupt. They said they don't take side because they see many bad things and they happen. They not pull statements, condemn the government themselves, then they balance it. So who are the moral guarantor? Who are this person? How we go able to build? You point very brilliant, but how we go build the faith? How we go do this?
Then the thing very like what thing you say now, like the same thing I don't say. How will it be like very simple, difficult? The country forget one president we get for make that sacrifice that our country we get for build and one day. That's why they build up. No other two way no the Torah. Entirely to that president we get for come, we get for say listen, I know there no sacred cow when I left the judiciary, let it operate independently. I know they get involved. I know they take any political case and they because somebody not like me or somebody talk against me, are they able to push case against an court for let them go and are the only way than they. If now like part of the argument where they look at and say, okay, now it starts, now the judiciary really get problem na salon from any honest point. We don't get cases in 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You and somebody they get planned by when a neighbor, it in a government, we don't get cases and like that. They always somebody, even some young girl then either they get boyfriend or they get sugar daddy, they will then get the government, then can able use that they for small cases they wanna they wanna go police and the police and will follow the due process because they don't get a telephone call from State House or from from somebody in our government. Don't tell and say listen, another media always say it is not now. Somebody get for Canway, they build that platform, they from dawn. When you build and dawn, you will feel like say you funny. It will sound like say you stupid. But if as long as where we they come, now the president they appoint, because that for example, we get so much force to do with like with the constitution anyway, because some of them position and they if they get for rewrite the constitution, when I get for make them say na position them probably with them for the vote for people them and then forget mandates like then get term where you don't can you for daily like 5 years. So regardless which decision that you get for take, where you go against the president. I make a get example. So like UK, how powerful the courts, the legal system they. I get example of wherein the prime minister when a businesswoman waiting some team Milan, where even challenge the business. Now, ordinary business woman, a challenge the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, a Peru Parliament for where do one go for the Brexit. Businesswoman challenge the Prime Minister go. Waiting the judge then do, they interpret at the court. The next day they still did it at the job. Then continue for them at the job, and then still then at the job then. Now that kind of system you they set up now any country wherein the justice system they able function. All the institutions, that they mean by democracy, they make them independent to such a way where police they can arrest you. Police they can arrest you, we get independent police commission. The police fully aware, say when you arrest Mr. Karamo, you forget body cam, you for record them, you for follow the due process. Whether it been follow and right or not, where don't go the report, the independent police commission self they can independent, they can investigate how that man be arrested if he right. If he not doing the right way, they get other bodies or institutions the way they can follow now. But salon then all know they happen at salon generally. So the legal system, they work. No system, they work. Then they don't know how they talk. They work. So that is not working. So it's not about case by case. If you take any case, let me tell you, I can go, God forbid, I don't go ever do I kill somebody publicly in a salon. If the president will allow go, where they go. You understand?
Yeah. You mentioned something where catch my attention. Famous. If you be the follow back then on social media, there was this video will be spread all over social media where they allege say famous one man go to famous in barrel, I think a woman in barrel. So famous other made them beat him man. then beat him to death. I watched them videos and I think yes, then CID go invite her, and after I think 1-2 hours they left and back. So people the grumble say now because famous they lean with the government, they lean with Fatima Bio, they lean with President Bio, and I make a free man. So you're right. Once you get connection, it seems as if you case not the pass.
Would I get connection? It go just like how you want, and then would them don't go against, they win case. It's not just about even political. Neighbors in the feds now, so they have would I get more money.
Yeah, so these are the problems. So I think the biggest problem now that make maybe APC say, okay, we're not gonna court because we know what did happen at the court and the Sierra Leonean. In fact, 2020, I can always like for make this reference. EU said EU make their submission. One of the institutions them pull out now the courts they say them corrupt. But anyway, a lot we take Fambule text there, a lot of many ones that don't care. You go help me take some of the text there. Take one, he said take one at least as much as we can. But the only thing any text where they call for violence, we know the taker. We know the reader. And the all right, I think lab begin with this one from Ellen McDavis. So they say, my brother, you are talking about life and death. We are talking about Mama Saloon. You are talking about United Kingdom. I think this person, maybe sometimes, they get you point to the reference to the try for being the case.
Everybody will give your comment. Not for say anything go.
This one they come up from Signature where they say in a court of fowls, the cockroach never wins a case. Yes, you can take some of those texts that they already see. You see like screen, you see?
No, nothing not come now.
Oh, they see?
Yeah, the first two been come, but nothing not there for now.
I mean, I'm going to see this a lot of them anyway. A lot of them. Okay, I'll go manage. I feel say they see the text there as well. This one they come up from Amadou Kamara where they say we have to follow the Western powers, obey the law, and go to courts. Anyway, it is too late because you were given 7 days to file your case. This one they come up from Grace Ramjo. They say yes, indeed. What a nice way to end your message. No matter how long the night, daylight is sure to come. Always light at the end of the tunnel. All right. Okay.
Therefore, slightly change position. Fix me.
All right. This one, Usman Tarawali will say, tell them, say we get eyes and they see fine. So let them not try for force me for believe say the white clothes na black. We you serve no say na black dishonesty. Na in do okay. This is too long now. All right, low tick more. This one they come up from Mara Sheko. Say, Mr. Komon, you are on point. The case of Mohammed Kamarimba and Leje is a political hunt, but God will surely see them through. All right. So law will put the cabinet. Fambu law puts this one. President Bill don't adjust, don't increase in cabinet appointment. Law just put this one. After that, we'll continue with our text then.
Joseph Egbenda Kapoor. Here is a public notice from the office of the President. The general public is hereby informed that it has pleased His Excellency the President, Brigadier Retired Dr. Julius Maada Bio, to announce the following appointments. Dr. Austin H. Demby, Minister of Health. Mr. Amara Kalon, Minister of Public Administration and Political Affairs. Mr. Jiwo Abdullahi, Minister of Environment and Climate Change. Mr. Muhammad Oman Bangura, Minister of Youth Affairs. Mr. Muhammad R. Soare, Minister of Employment, Labor and Social Security. Major General Retired David T. O. Taluva, Minister of Internal Affairs. Dr. Henry N. Paka, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. Mr. Cherno Ba, Minister of Information and Civic Education. Alhaji Kanja Sise, Minister of Energy. Ambassador Alhaji Fande Toure, Minister of Transport and Aviation. Ambassador Tamba Lamina, Minister of Local Government and Community Affairs. Dr. Sao Pato Hana Max Kine, Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation. Mrs. Princess Duba, Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources. Mrs. Nabila F. Tunis, Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs. Dr. Turat Senesi, Minister of Lands, Housing and Country Planning. Ms. Kenye Bali, Minister of Planning and Economic Development. Mrs. Melrose Kaminti, Minister of Social Welfare. Dr. Aissata Mahoy, Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs. Dr. Dennis Sandi, Minister of Works and Public Assets. Mrs. Augusta James Tima, Minister of Sports. Ms. Haja Salimatu Ba, Minister of Communication, Technology and Innovation. Mr. Adekunle King, Minister of the Western Region. Mr. Abu Abdullahi Kuruma, Resident Minister, North. Mr. Mohammed E.K. Ali, Resident Minister, South. Ambassador Umaru B. Wuri, Resident Minister, Northwest. Mr. Beshe Jusu Ngobe, Resident Minister, East. Deputy Ministers. Colonel Retired Mwana Brightman Sarkoy, Deputy Minister of Defense. Mr. Alpha Sisi, Deputy Minister of Justice, Dr. Charles Senesi. Deputy Minister of Health, 1. Dr. Jalikatu Mustafa. Deputy Minister of Health, 2. Mr. Philip Tetema Tondone. Deputy Minister of Public Administration and Political Affairs, Mr. Patrick M. Jibrila. Deputy Minister of Youth Affairs, Mr. Mohamed Lansana Dumboya. Deputy Minister of Employment, Labor and Social Security, Dr. Teresa T. Dick. Deputy Minister 1 of Agriculture and Food Security, Mr. Sa Hemo. Deputy Minister 2 of Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Eldred Tunde Taylor. Deputy Minister of Energy, Mr. Yusuf Keketoma Sandi. Deputy Minister of Information and Civic Education, Mr. Rex Bonafa. Deputy Minister of Transport and Aviation, Mr. Alfred Jamiu. Deputy Minister of Local Government and Community Affairs, Engineer Francis A. Kalon. Deputy Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Mrs. Haja Aisata Abdullahi Kamara. Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Mrs. Kadiatu G. A. Kamara. Deputy Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Ms. Phyllis Kapu. Deputy Minister of Lands, Housing and Country Planning, the Reverend Dr. Jonathan Titus Williams. Deputy Minister of Planning and Economic Development, Mr. Hindoa Bwakai Bindi. Deputy Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs, Mrs. Queen Fofana. Deputy Minister of Works and Public Assets, Mr. Ibrahim Sano. Deputy Minister of Communication, Technology and Innovation. And now for other appointments. The Honorable Alhaji Dr. Alpha Bakar Sahid Kanu, Presidential Spokesman. Mr. Solomon Jamiru, Press Secretary. Dr. Kande Yumkela, Chairman, Presidential Initiative for Climate Change, Renewable Energy and Food Security. Ambassador Michael Imran Kanu, Ambassador and Permanent Representative for Sierra Leone to the United Nations. Ambassador Amara Sowa, Deputy Permanent Representative for Sierra Leone to the United Nations. Brigadier General retired Kelly Conte, National Security Advisor. Mr. Ernest Ndomahina, Commissioner, National Commission for Social Action. Mr. Lamina P. Vamboy, State Chief of Protocol, Mr. Abdul Bakra, Executive Officer 1, Office of the President, Mr. Kamo K. Conte, Executive Officer 2, Office of the President. And that's the end of this public notice from the Office of the President, signed Julius F. Sandy, Doctor, PhD, Secretary to the President, and dated 15th July 2023. This is a Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Joseph Egbe.
All right, that was the list. We see a sort of like swap. We see them pull. Sandy don't come back anyway into the realm, and we see them pull the information. Soiree then change and then send a label. What do you make up of this list? I see people and they praise this particular list. Then they say this new government looks inclusive. Enough about like the first one where more than 80% of the people on one side and come out. But what you make up of these makeup?
I will start with the first point we make where yes, you know, this and say is just focused on one region, because even I don't know if you take them by the names if now so they identify people then as alone by the names, then you see and say pretty much more balance, you know, focus on like the traditional southeast, you know, cabinet way will be predominant. And because like now they predominantly now they didn't get like the supporters, you see it bringing a lot of, like from the first list if you will see the Justice Minister, Tarawa, I don't know if not Tarawali, the Finance Minister, you know, I think is a Northern, the Justice Minister and Northern name. I don't know if not Northern no can say anything. The only thing we may learn again, we make you always put a leg now is an hypothesis because we need for test and prove them. You understand? That a youthful cabinet, that are the difference we may just learn. So like
and more women inclusion.
Yeah, it kind of, you know, include a lot of women.
41% are women.
Yeah, we that kind of, and it bring a lot of young men then. So like that, it kind of will inspire or encourage a lot of young people that will get interest in politics. It kind of don't begin to look like how politics they now like the West, like certain ages. And I see a lot of people in the way they under 14 at this cabinet. A lot. That's why I don't know them. There are see some people that they just at the early 40s and the mid 40s, not too bad and not too young man. Very sound and smart people there. Some lawyers, some from other walks of life. You see them. Chenoba, you know, we've been there now, TBD now, our NGO, if you don't work, you get experience, if you don't work now. I think now the US, I don't know if now be any subdivision, UN, like the, if I don't see a 1 or 2 10 TV where they talk, but in NGO they won't. They're very smart, sharp. No, that are the key thing with Milan Water. It kind of a big balance and it bring a lot of young man them. Then also what I learned from you know, focus on like people then they actually do a lot of dirty work for more like the political parts where they come, they want and this and that. So like automatically qualify you for let you be compensated like how the previous government made it. Because a lot of people then be like they just compensate them, what they do for you some dirty work, how they mean fed for let you get elected, you know. But even this, they say a lot of people then work whether in political strategy or not, or like because it's still not done it, they get diplomatic position they will left. We don't know if some man then are sacked, they don't sack them. If some man they decide for move them.
Yeah, we see KKY then put the chairman. You see KKY, I think he don't go back to what he know best.
Yeah, our like
renewable energy.
Yeah, now a new commission
security.
Yes, way it creates. So like even for example, I don't know the mandate, I don't know like the whole way.
This one looks new. This one looks new. This is entirely in a creation.
Yes.
A new creation, this one.
Mm-hmm. So like incoming, then take and put like now you the chair the president in kind of chairman of the political waiting of the president. So therefore see mandate end again, it attach something to and we now a manifesto flagship program than because the last one, the flagship one will be education where it be kind of put a lot of premium on for let's succeed in education, the free education way campaign. This one it come with feeds alone. So again, if not like that kicker inside added to again and say food security and everybody know the kicker in academic qualification in agriculture study anyway. So again, I don't work at the energy sector and probably it creates. Well, I got I don't know a mandate which power I get, a cabinet grant, what he would oversee, how it will function. If you get for the in a state house, you get for the with the president and how it may be called like new thing we or don't see it don't implement. But the good thing, if I learn from man, young man them plenty.
All right.
That list with the young man and they under them too much, man. There's so much. Youthful cabinet. I don't feel say Salon do ever get cabinet way young like that.
All right, now they take on a text again, small, as we round up the program. Amidu Kamara, where they say the fact remains that ECSL cannot be trusted. They were so angry with APC and don't want to hear or see them at all. They are referee and behaving partial. If anything happens to Sierra Leone, ECSL to blame. Law will go back. This one they come up from Maria Makuruma. They say, so why this government not go start now, but just complaining? I think they refer to say how we go build confidence in institutions. This one they come up from Mary J. where they say, the country will not go forward under this killer regime. Period. This one they come up from Signature where they say the trouble with the war is not that people know too little. It's that they know so many things that just aren't so.
I think you mute.
Okay. This one they come up from nearly where they say the judiciary they're not disgrace to human rights. I don't know, maybe not clear on this.
No, they're not disgrace to human rights. That's what.
Okay, they're not disgrace to the human rights. Okay. Okay, Lago they put. I think I get issue with me. Okay, I'm gonna put on the screen. Let's say the we. Yes, with TDC.
So we are operating a system of laws. Wait for 2028 and for SAFU.
Okay.
SFVP are scared of their shadow. That's why they don't want another election because they know they will lose woefully. Killers, crooks.
Okay.
He has already know the outcome of the result. The Bravo team in say, what you mean? No more elections. No, the question. Nobody is questioning the swearing-in of the president, but the question, the transparency, credibility, and fairness of the election, the conduct of the election is the question. I can answer that quick because like my point where I make.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. The point where Asidona I make, I talk about the swearing, and that me put as me argument and not go to the election because let people they look get and realize just clear and the mind say. I give example to President S by Komaiwe win that within few hours then be swearing in. That means self talk about what's it. I say so now the same thing happen this time around. They're not different from the other one. And until somebody like come with that argument and prove me wrong anyway. But not to the credibility of the election. If they don't talk about that part, say the observers and already don't mention and they out there, not to miss them, they are not argued and they anyway. See, forget about counting or tallying the votes. Remember, Kone and his role commissioners proclaimed BO for 5 years during the presidential nomination with a five fingers gesture. He's saying that the picture says 1,000 words is always true.
Yeah, this one they come up from Jerry Brownie.
Yeah, Jerry Brown. Lucretia Ban, they have been exposing themselves by their words and actions. Mary J. APC will not go to court because the court will not call the case until the end of the year's 5 years. Ahmed Koma. There are cases the APC has in court since 2018, which they never called. Then I'm Ahmed Koma. Jerry Brown. Mr. Komon-Tok, the APC going to court for this election fraud will be a futile exercise. Will be a futile exercise, period. Mr. Patricia Howard is saying, Mr. Komon-Tok, that sort of mother bill that APC went to Japan Hotel and run away without paying. This is false statement. It's been checked and found it's a big lies. Anyway, I read exactly how people did write down. Mother bill is.
Yeah, but we got the quotes. We know say they don't fact check but we got the try for build a case. I hope they understand that we know they can't confirm saying it was true or because we don't follow that for a very long time. We don't talk waiting then be put forward.
It's what matter Bangwa. I say the Almighty God will vindicate for the rightful winners soon, very, very soon. Stephen Nyale, Mr. Lawyer, election results are challenged in court and not on social media. In 2012, SLVP disagreed and went to court. When the court ruled against them, they backed down. You guys prefer to be on social media, they explained. Fatma Tawa, I don't trust this government. They are illegitimate. Grace Ramjay says, Sasenge, the coup don't begin from you. Legitimacy is the best way for democracy, which is perfectly correct because you get for be legitimate anyway. Then just go dirty, we finger them for nothing.
Jumo T.
Jumo T. Yeah. Chris Ramjay, it's not about you and appointed minister. It's by the will of the people. Let democracy prevail for, by, and of the people. Aisha Kista, we say we are nothing without each other. Hassan Haidar, he said, I wouldn't even think about a global political bureaucracy. He's not my president. Hawana Tukoma, never challenge the hand that is feeding you. Probably be they refer to wherein he say, we send there, say the challenge there. Yeah.
All right, I think perhaps we'll just take five more, and then we call it a day.
Saying, Chief Minister, stop talking big. Let's wait and see what happens. This a yes movement. It said the International Committee will use a soft power approach on Sierra Leone issue in order for democracy to sustain. Sierra Leoneans should brace for unforeseen events. Hello, Mr. Komon-Tok. The joke is on the Chief Minister and the rest of them, because Salone survives on donor funds. If their government is not acknowledged, the effect will be soon seen and felt. So we call on the government to institute an independent outside investigation of the election process and integrate observer recommendations to improve the electoral modalities for future elections. Probably we put from somewhere anyway.
Yeah, it continues saying it sounds like the US has moved on.
Yeah, it sounds like the US has moved on. This now for what Siddiq is a very important program, so probably they acknowledge and appreciate the effort with TPP they do. I started Dumboya say good afternoon, Mr. Komon-Tok. They try for say hello to you. And Bernard Dumawa say good evening from Sierra Leone. Thanks for your program. God Mighty will bless you. So again, that they acknowledge you hard work. Kevin say welcome. TPP Leon, God bless you, my brother. Stay safe. Hawa Kumbali say hello, Mr. Komon-Tok, and thank you so much for your good job. Well done. So again, it looks like a lot of people they appreciate within the Apple platform. Mary J say happy Saturday from my side, the Golden State.
All right.
Hi, Danny Jolly say hi to you, Mr. I'm sure
these are the first. Some people they comment 1 hour before the program, so at least one do sort of like a courtesy for acknowledge their time. Make we go up to that lengthy. So we Famulem, we go Tapaya. We sorry again. We apologies. We never open the line today, but we're working very hard. At least, perhaps, maybe tomorrow we'll be able to put the line up for Leonas to get opportunity for jumping to the issues there. We tell them plenty thank you, and we appreciate you a lot because when they share our content there, we know, we're not able to do this without you. Anyway, tomorrow we hope, let's just announce, we'll focus with Honorable Salamina of the SLPP and one MP from APC elect. But if we not get, I don't get the consent of Honorable Salamina, I still struggle with this. I don't want to call the honorable name, itself, but I would definitely communicate through the flyer we can put if we get in consent within the next 2 hours. Immediately after now, we'll try very hard, at least we'll get them back. For we just get the consent. If you're not happy, then definitely we'll stick out another APC man for can make and balance. And okay, maybe we'll just give bonus. Lord, just take few.
Suma say in total we have 64 ministers and deputy ministers. This now for camp, Boku the bank, and finally bankruptcy country. Camp Kunku the bank, and finally bankruptcy country.
Yeah, and this one they come out from.
reality. Say, if we really love Sierra Leone, we should be discussing the way forward. Let's bring our suggestions to the government. You'll be surprised to see good suggestions implemented by the government.
All right, so Fambul, let me just stop here. Um, we get the opportunity for no say a lot of stakeholders in the watch now, yeah? But at how the moment they so people from all different corner of the world when I say unions and they say we don't just move on like that. We need at least for do we own analysis, a thorough investigation, law try for healing, very important. We cannot just move like that. Law just move on, like small begin, thing that happen. And we see, I think that happen. So we got to acknowledge what's happening first before we move on to the healing. Accept the thing, say something happen, they will go on the healing, and then we go into reconciliation or maybe we move on. But that jump, people like what people in they say, Lord, just jump immediately, Lord, move on. And then they set a bad precedent, and that is not the way for solve any issue anyway. So yes, you get anything for art before we say goodbye now, as we don't spend a lot of time to fumble there.
We will always just say like we appreciate me. I can always say like people then can appreciate, and each time like me can I solely they represent myself and me own view and opinion. They are not represent nobody or any political party. Anything I say fully represent me own thought and view. Then anyway, each time I sit down, I analyze, I think about how me look at them and what me think within right from me on heart and the way forward. Now that make you always try for
All right.
as much
Thank
possible.
you. Yeah, thank you very much. So Fambulana, bye bye. We'll come back tomorrow. By God in power.
To stop pretending that countries that just hold an election where sometimes the winner somehow magically gets 90% of the vote because all the opposition is locked up or can't get on TV is a democracy. Democracy depends on strong institutions, and it's about minority rights and checks and balances and freedom of speech and freedom of expression and a free press and the right to protest and petition the government and an independent judiciary and everybody having to follow the law.
Attention. Attention, attention. Are you hungry for the latest insights on politics and good governance issues from the motherland, Sierra Leone? Look no further than Talking Points, your go-to platform for engaging discussions. Subscribe today and let your voice surge. Talking Points is where smart minds come alive. Subscribe now.
With Talking Points platform, you can dive into thought-provoking discussions, connect with like-minded individuals, and broaden your horizons. Be among the first to know the latest happenings in Sierra Leone. Join us today, subscribe, on YouTube, TPP Leone. Like our page, on Facebook, at Talking Pints platform. It's your voice, you are in control. We believe in you. Subscribe now. Like our page. We love you.
Attention, attention. Are you hungry for the latest insights on politics and good governance issues from the motherland, Sierra Leone? Look no further than Talking Points, your go-to platform for engaging discussions. Subscribe today and let your voice surge. Talking Points is where smart minds come alive. Subscribe now.
With Talking Points platform, you can dive into thought-provoking discussions, connect with like-minded individuals, and broaden your horizons. Be among the first to know the latest happenings in Sierra Leone. Join us today, subscribe on YouTube, TPP Leone. Like our page on Facebook at Talking Pints Platform. It's your voice, you are in control. We believe in you. Subscribe now. Like our page. We love you.
Attention, attention. Are you hungry for the latest insights on politics and good governance issues from the motherland, Sierra Leone? Look no further than Talking Points, your go-to platform for engaging discussions. Subscribe today and let your voice surge. Talking Points is where smart minds come alive. Subscribe now.
You must listen very carefully to your enemies, because sometimes they tell you the truth that you do not want to hear but need to hear. Sometimes you are surrounded by a coterie of people who pretend to be your friends, but they are not. They are friends of the office that you hold and the things and the doors that you can open for them. That requires discernment. That requires detachment. That requires focus. That requires selflessness. That requires intellectual firepower and spiritual contentment. Easier said than done. You know, power, it is said, corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But I remember the great Tanzanian President Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere used to say that when you are called upon to serve, remember that you are not necessarily the best, but you've been given the honor and privilege of serving. That is why we call you honorable. That is why sometimes we even call you excellency, not because you are excellent yourself, but we expect you to do excellent things. If you surround yourself with the wrong people who will continue to worship you, very soon you get used to being worshipped, then you become a demigod and you become hostile to truth and you become attracted to flattery. The strength of character is very important, and power does not change people. Power reveals who you truly are or truly are. I've interacted with individuals even across this continent, men and women who mean well and they serve well. I was telling a friend of mine who is a senior politician in Kenya that one of the greatest hallmarks of a servant leader is that when he or she receives a letter from a citizen, he or she acknowledges the letter. And I've dealt with many African heads of state, and to their credit, quite a number of them, they will cause the letter to be acknowledged. In Kenya, which is my country, you write to leaders, they never respond. Never. Because there is arrogance, which is tragic. So what must one do when one gets into public office? Humility must never abandon you. I've had the opportunity myself of serving in public spaces in this country on 3 different occasions. And in my view, have never changed. I've always realized that power is temporal and that you only do your bit and leave. As William Shakespeare once said, all the world is but a stage. We have our comings and goings. If you remember that, you'll remember to always have humility as your shadow. Most African politicians, I'm very reluctant to use the word leaders when I make reference to most African politicians. They occupy positions of leadership, but they are not leaders, most of them. First of all, the intention with which they enter into leadership is the problem. They seek office because they love power and privilege and opportunity that it provides to them. They want to become wealthy. And the easiest and shortest avenue to wealth in Africa today is public office. With the minimum effort, you become a multi-millionaire. They go there in order to be worshipped. And they go there not to do the right thing. And once they have been in office, they do so many wrong things that it becomes dangerous for them to leave office. So their continued occupation of office is also to ensure that they enjoy immunity that comes with office. But when you are a good leader who does the right thing, you do not fear to leave office because nothing has changed. And I've seen leaders of that ilk in this part of the continent. And there are quite a number of sprinkling of leaders who have left office and are doing great things. Joaquim Chissano in Mozambique. Ifikepunye Pohamba in Botswana. People like my good friend Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, Ali Hassan Mwinyi in Tanzania, Benjamin William Mkapa, Joaquim Chissano, as I've said, of Mozambique. These are people who have left office and nothing is happening to them because they are men and women of integrity. John Mahama of Ghana. There are quite a number of them now across the continent who do not fear being out of office, and they are doing great things once they leave office. But there are others who will never leave office, because the day they leave office,